David Coote, to recap with people, as we did in the episode that is now called the Lost episode. David Coote was filmed by someone who we were debating on the Lost episode. Taron posited that it might be his kid, and I was like, that's not his child. He's getting high with them. He's clearly not his child. But unless he has a very weird relationship with his son. But he was being videoed by someone who did admittedly look a little bit younger, and he was saying on the video that he thought Jurgen Klopp was a C word. I'm not going to say it this time because I really do it. It's really a pain in the ass having to go in and bleep things. I don't want to do that again. And he also said Liverpool was shit. So the natural sort of consequence from this is people are assuming that, pending further investigation, blah, 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 Premier League referees association, whatever, they're going to decide what to do with him. People are debating whether he should be able to referee again, full stop. And some people are like, it shouldn't be full stop. It should be just not in the Premier League. It should be just not Liverpool games or teams that are being affected by Liverpool. What is your opinion on the potential consequence? Because I think we kind of discussed this last time on the Lost episode, but I personally feel like he's just basically been caught doing something that your average British worker does, which is bitching about colleagues. And I just can't imagine a world where other referees aren't having the exact same conversations, just not on camera. So the only factor here for me was the fact that he was actually videoed. But what do you reckon?
I think the thing is though, I think you hit the nail on the head because it was on camera. That's what it was. I mean, we all bitch about colleagues all the time. We've all done it in the past. If you say you haven't, you're a bloody liar.
You're the one they bitch about.
It. Yeah, you're the ones they're bitching about. That's what it is. But I think, but the difference is once whether you posted it or someone else posted it, the fact it's been posted online.
Yeah.
It kind of falls under that line of professionalism, and it's just like you may not like a colleague. That's fine. You're entitled to not like a colleague. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Well, it depends on the situation, but there's nothing. You're not entitled to like everybody you meet in life. That's fine. So you might have some colleagues that you don't like, but then if someone's recording you and you're getting high, and you're then bitching about that colleague, and then someone posts about that colleague, about you bitching about that colleague online, it falls into that. I mean, it might be a HR issue in many places. Yeah. It would be a HR issue, and it's posted on social media, and it's like I mean, I think the thing is that people like footballers, especially managers like Jurgen Klopp, have got a bit thicker skin. I don't think Jurgen Klopp will lose any sleep over it. I don't think he's going to be like, oh my god, he moaned about me.
I can guarantee somebody would have been like, Jurgen, what did you think about David Coote's video where he called you this? And he went, who? Do you know
exactly? So that's what I was saying. I don't think Jurgen would even think twice about it. But it falls into that professionalism, and also, if we look at the other angle, he's getting high with somebody and it's filmed and it's been posted. Again,
can we just talk about the coverage of the getting high aspect, right? So I said it on the last episode. I was like, you can kind of tell by his eyes that he's a bit munted, yeah. And the day after, the information that came out, the Sky Sports News had a little yellow headline across the bottom of the screen that was like, there was a white powder substance that was found in David Coote's video.
And I was like, what it could be.
Wow. I text you a screenshot. I text you a screenshot, just went, called it.
Yep, called it straight away.
He's definitely not just drunk in that video. You can see it by his eyes. He's definitely
he's hardly had a Budweiser there. He's been doing a few lines on that one. So I think then it shows that he's, again, it falls into professionalism.
Yeah.
It's as funny as it is for us to watch and talk about it. As a professional referee in the Premier League, you can't go around doing a few lines and then bitching about managers with someone who's probably, just not even finished their GCSEs yet. You can't go around doing that.
What I'm imagining is like him doing coke on the actual match day, and that's what helps him get up and down the pitch. Basically,
hey, you know what? Everyone has their foibles, and everyone has their little rituals as well before they start a game. Some people like to do stretches. He likes to do a few lines. Maybe that's what it is.
Oh man, it says a lot about what the current sort of climate of conversation is, that people are like, this is cancel culture, and it's like, to think that this is like something new that is only going to happen in the modern day, that somebody has been found out doing something like which is sus. This would happen to anyone who has a job. That, you know what I mean?
I think it's very, very. It's not very. I think it shows a little bit of immaturity to call this cancel culture. This is not cancel culture. No. This is just unprofessionalism. If you were in any other workplace and you were snorting a few lines again with a guy who looks like he hasn't finished his GCSEs,
we should clarify. We should clarify. That's not on the video, because he's not actually snorting lines on the video.
He's not snorting a few lines, but we know he's. If someone's eyes are like that, he's tweaked on something.
But I would also argue that when a company is presented that kind of evidence, they should only really be judging it according to what is matter of fact on the video, if you know what I mean. Like, I don't think they should be inferring that he's been doing coke, because that's
what I mean. There's no evidence at all that he did anything.
No, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about like the evidence aspect of it. I'm saying he wasn't actually doing that on camera, so they shouldn't really be inferring that he was doing coke. Like, as far as a HR department is looking at that video,
HR department now.
Yeah, he's probably you can argue that he's probably just really, really intense.
Really, really intense. But that's a matter for his legal team. Like Karen in HR, that's not going to go down well with her.
Yeah, I don't know, man. So what do you reckon? Forget about the professionalism side of things. Like, what do you reckon in terms of the actual like refereeing side, the Premier League side, whether he should be refereeing in the Premier League? Obviously,
I think, if anything, he should be refereeing in the World Cup now because of that. I think he deserves a promotion, for being honest.
Go to.
Look, again, it's up to the Premier League to make that decision. Personally, I think that you have to suspend someone like that. You can't keep them around after that for like straight away. You come out, well, I'll see you on work on Monday. You can't have that. It has to be suspended.
Yeah.
I don't think he should have to quit his refereeing career altogether. I don't think that should happen. Maybe spend a couple of seasons down in the Championship and then maybe come back to the Premier League. And because a lot of these things, this seems like one of those stories.
Yeah.
That in a couple of seasons' time we'll kind of just
laugh about.
We'll laugh about it, but we won't think that much about it.
I do want to bring up a story. Now that you've just reminded me, because I was thinking this is actually quite a good counterbalance to the idea that he should never referee again. So there is a Spanish referee who, back in the day, was found of actually taking bribes. He's still a referee today because he actually was given the chance to have a retribution, to be able to what do you call it?
What came without a bribe?
No, what do what jails are supposed to be doing? They're
probation.
Rehabilitated.
Rehabilitation.
Yeah, he was rehabilitated. Retribution, fucking hell. He was rehabilitated by he wasn't completely stopped from refereeing, and now he's still refereeing today.
Was that in La Liga?
Yeah, it was in La Liga. Give me a sec. Take bribe.
So the thing is that while you're looking for that, that's because La Liga will have to make their own decision on that one, and it's the Premier League. I don't know what their rules are around it. I don't know any refs in the Premier. There might be a few refs in the Premier League taking bribes. We don't know.
I mean, maybe back in the day, but I feel like there's a lot of protections against that kind of stuff nowadays.
I think nowadays it'll be quite difficult to take a bribe. But I think now the Premier League. That's probably why he got coked up. Because I'm making back all out of this game, but I think I don't know what they're. I mean, if it was a player who was coked up, I mean, what would let's say, for example, let's say Haaland did a video where he is coked out of his face.
Yeah.
And he's on there and he's slagging off Kyle Walker. He's on there and he's going, Kyle Walker's a prick. Imagine if that's happening. What would we expect the repercussions for that? I mean, obviously that would be more of a matter for Man City to decide.
Yeah.
But what would we expect the repercussions of that to be?
I would argue that in that scenario, because you've given Haaland as the example, I think they would play the mental gymnastics card, defend him as much as they can, say that he's going to have some kind of rehabilitation and program to work through, and then put him back in the team because he's so talented. Because a good case in point here is Mason Greenwood. If anyone else had been charged with that kind of stuff, if anyone else had been charged with that kind of stuff at the very beginning of the before anything was proved or whatever, they would have been fired. But because he was very, very talented, and Man United saw a lot of potential in him, they kept him on the books. They were like, "We're going to back you and keep you sort of on the side." But you see what I mean? So it depends on what players do.
So you're talking about the profile of the player.
Yeah.
If the player's profile is high, then they will just do everything they can to keep him in there. But if the profile is low, let's go to Chelsea. Then say, I mean, let's say Dewsbury Hall at Chelsea had Kieran Dewsbury Hall. Yeah. He got coked up, and then he said, Enzo's a prick.
How far? Okay,
I think that Kieran might be shifted out then.
Yeah, he would be. But also, how far can we talk? Speculate on this? Speculate is the wrong word. How far can we imagine this kind of stuff before we are subject to libel for that kind? You know what I mean? Where we end up actually starting.
We might actually creep onto something.
Yeah, I don't want to get in trouble with KDH of all people. You know what I mean? I would say that a referee is held to a different level of professionalism than your average player. So, because at the end of the day, I wouldn't know who David Coote is if it wasn't for the fact that he had this scandal.
No.
And I'm assuming most football fans are in that position as well. So,
it's definitely he'll be on I'm a Celebrity in a couple of years because of this.
Yeah.
But I think I agree with your point with that they are held to a different standard because in many ways they are kind of in a weird sort of way they're like the teachers on the pitch in many ways, if you get what I mean.
They're not the stars of the show. That's the big difference. Yeah, they're not the stars of the show. So they're given less leeway in terms of how you judge them because really they're a lot more expendable than your average player in that sense.
Yeah, no one's going to buy tickets to see the ref.
No, exactly. They're very expendable.
There might be some people who do, but no one's going to buy a ticket to see. Oh, mate, Howard Webb's referee today. Whoa, no one's going to do that. But I think, I think he will be suspended. How long that suspension will be, I'm not too sure. But he will. He'll probably do some. We probably won't see him ref in the Premier League for any time soon. Probably be in the Championship, but I don't think he won't. I don't think he won't ref in the Premier League ever again.
Yeah,
maybe in the future, but just not anytime soon.
I hope so. I hope there is a way back. There should always be a way back, I think, with these kinds of things. Yeah. And at the end of the day, it probably isn't any water off of Jurgen Klopp's back that he said these things. And Liverpool, he probably just can never referee a Liverpool game or a Liverpool affected game for a very long time, and even then, people will know there's a bias to it. What we were talking about last week as well is what I really don't is that this is only going to feed into that conspiratorial nature that a lot of football fans have, where they genuinely believe that a lot of referees have it out for their team, and I think this is gonna
plays into that.
Yeah, this plays into that. This actually reinforces that when in reality it's not real. It's a fucking conspiracy theory, but it just plays into what football fans feel.
But there might be some reality to it, but maybe this is just we're seeing behind the curtain kind of thing. Maybe we're just kind of seeing maybe a lot of referees do have a bias. Maybe they do,
Yeah.
If Coots does come back, maybe if he does ref in the Premier League, he might just be reffing relegation games. The lower half of the league. He might just be resorting to that, which probably still wouldn't be a very bad paycheck. It'll still probably be pretty good.
Yes, it's the same. I'm assuming the paychecks are basically the same, as long as you're in the league itself. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think like
But-
the paycheck is probably the last thing on his mind right now. I think for him it's basically just, can I ever referee again? Full stop. Which I think, God forbid that ends up being the outcome of this whole thing. It's like, I guess he has to work out a backup plan to his life. But yeah, you know what? We can
it's
only
good to have something to fall back on.
Something to, he could always move to Colombia, as he seems to have established interest in.
This is why my parents always said, get a trade behind you. Get a trade. So you got something to fall back on. Get a trade behind you.
Drug dealer.
I never did.
Yeah.
But they always say, get a trade behind you.
Nice. Let's. I guess we can only kind of discuss this further when eventually the outcome is there. But.
I mean, how far is this story going to go? Let's be honest.
I mean, probably it's definitely going to be out.
How much further can we take this story?
It's definitely going to be out the zeitgeist pretty soon. Like, the results will come out. People will have opinions about the results, and then that'll be it. And then David Coote will be again another nameless referee that we don't ever really pay attention to.